Hello, my name is Bailey Muller. I'm a senior planner here at the North Central Texas Council of Governments, and I'll be giving a brief update on electric vehicles and how they impact our region. To get some relevancy on why we're talking about EVs today, our region is actually in ozone non-attainment, which means it does not meet the federal standards outlined for the harmful pollutant ozone. Ozone itself is created when nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds interact with sunlight to create that harmful pollutant. As electric vehicles are no emissions, and our region, most of the emissions in our region producing ozone are from the transportation sector, we are promoting EV adoption because we are hoping it can decrease ozone trends over time. When we talk about EVs in general, there's a few different vehicles that can be categorized as an electric vehicle itself. The first is a fuel cell electric vehicle. Those are more commonly referred to as those hydrogen fuel cells. They're not currently on the market in Texas, so you don't see too many of those. The plug-in hybrid electric vehicle is an EV with a smaller electric battery, and when that depletes, it can use a backup gasoline engine. And then there's that full battery electric vehicle, which just has the battery. There's approximately 14,000 EVs in North Texas today, and of that, 75% are battery electric and 25% are plug-in hybrids. This is a brief snapshot of EV growth that we have witnessed across Texas over time. In the last 5 years, North Texas itself has observed a 32.5% average annual growth rate for EVs. And so it's pretty exciting for us. Seeing that year after year has been pretty eye-opening in planning and seeing how much EVs can change over time. 2020, we did see a small dip. However, we do attribute that to the pandemic and some other factors. So we do anticipate EVs to continue to rise in the future. There's been many projections that have been released that anticipate EVs could be up to 55% of all vehicles on the road by 2040. Currently, we're at less than 1% of EVs on the road. And so in less than 20 years, having that rate of change requires us to do a lot of work to be proactive and ready for EVs as they increase on the market and they increase on the roadways themselves. When people are looking to buy a vehicle, there's a couple different tools to see and use in order to figure out if EVs are right for you. The Alternative Fuels Data Center has the vehicle cost calculator, which allows you to compare and assess the total cost of ownership of an electric vehicle versus a similar gasoline vehicle. And so EVs, while they do have a higher sticker price when you're purchasing them at the beginning, they do tend to have lower maintenance costs as well as lower fuel costs over their lifetime. So over the lifespan of the vehicle itself, those do tend to be cheaper over time. There's a couple different levels of charging infrastructure when you do have an EV to take into account. All of these are varied based upon the speed of the charging itself. And so level 1, you don't see too many of those because they are slower chargers. Level 2 is by far the most common type of charger across Texas. There's almost 3,000 dispersed across the state. And then those DC fast chargers are the fastest ones, the most powerful chargers out there right now. There's over 270 of those across Texas, and those can get 60 to 80 miles per 20 minutes of charge. And so basically you're only using those when you don't have time dedicated to be able to charge your vehicle over a longer span. This here is a brief snapshot of all the existing electric vehicle infrastructure in North Texas. You can see those are all the different types of EV chargers that are publicly available today. You can access all of these and see not only where local North Texas chargers are, but also across the country at the Alternative Fuels Data Center, Alternative Fuel Station Locator tool. This is available via the internet browser, or they do have iPhone and other phone apps available. Within the app, you're able to see what type of charger it is, if there's any time constraints on it, as well as be able to put in different destinations on where you're going, and you could see where the closest and most convenient chargers are, so you never have to worry about your vehicle running out of battery when you're trying to get from point A to point B. In order to expand the existing infrastructure that we currently have, there is some funding available that we are very much encouraging people to take advantage of. The Volkswagen Settlement Texas Mitigation Plan, the Zero Emission Vehicle Infrastructure, currently has funding open for level 2 chargers, and so it will reimburse up to $2,500 per installation and may not exceed 70% of costs for publicly available chargers, as well as 60% of costs for workplace and multi-unit chargers. This Volkswagen money is first come, first serve, and it does go out in September of this year. If you are a private entity, you can pair that with the alternative fuel infrastructure tax credit, which covers an additional 30% of costs, not to exceed $30,000. And you do have to install that before December 31st, 2021. EV charging at workplaces and multi-unit dwellings are two of the areas that we are focusing a lot of outreach on currently. There's a lot of benefits for the property in general. It can differentiate a property. It can show public commitment to being green. It can double EV commuting range for any tenants or workers there. And if you plan and accommodate early, the cost of the EV infrastructure itself with installation costs and everything can be a lot lower. And so we are encouraging people to connect with companies, developers, facility managers to request that infrastructure on site and share details for the current funding so we can get more chargers for those different communities installed. And to do that, we created a couple different flyers that we have for distribution that you can access on these websites right down here. One of them is focusing on workplace charging benefits, and one of them is focusing on multifamily housing benefits. For those that are currently looking to purchase an EV for themselves, there is money for that as well. So the plug-in electric drive vehicle credit funds up to $2,500 to $7,500 based upon the vehicle that you could take advantage of. If you know of a fleet that has medium to heavy duty trucks, there are other funding opportunities available for them. We have some of those listed on our air quality funding page, which is nctcog.org/AQ funding. So if you know any companies or cities that you think could benefit from those larger, medium, heavy duty vehicles to be electric, definitely send them those that information and those opportunities, because we do encourage them to take advantage of the funding for those as well. Texas additionally did have funding for up to $2,500 of a rebate for EVs. The latest round did expire on January 7, 2021, so it's currently not available. However, there's a few different bills that are in the Texas legislature that could possibly impact that rebate. House Bill 2221 is more commonly referred to as the Electric Transportation Act, does cover and proposes a few updates to that state incentive, which would require the dealer to credit the incentive payment to the buyer at the time of sale. Currently, right now, you do not get it off at the time of sale. You submit paperwork and then you get reimbursed later. And so that would streamline the process a little bit. And then it would also expand the rebate to provide up to $4,000 for light duty EV trucks that are coming on the market. For those that are interested in electric vehicles, this bill does encompass a lot more than just this rebate proposal. And so we do encourage you to go to the summary of the bill here at TxETRA Electric Transportation Act Bill Summary and read through those possible changes and different things that bill would be covering. While we went over a lot, we are very excited about EVs in our region and know that it's an ever-changing industry. And so we do encourage everyone to go onto our websites and try to follow us on our constant contact list so you can stay in the loop with any major news updates or funding updates. You can access those on both our event page as well as our DFW Clean Cities page. And then you can also contact me directly or anyone on the DFW Clean Cities team. We'd be happy to help with anything. Thank you.